Welcome everyone to Things Around 8. Dear friends, in this video we will talk about naval maneuvers by a Russian fleet armed with hypersonic missiles on a course to approach the US East Coast, just days after Vladimir Putin said that Russia will deliver Russian weapons to the United States enemies. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and click on the notification bell so you don't miss any news. On Tuesday, June 11th, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported that 4 Russian vessels en route to Cuba conducted military exercises in the Atlantic simulating hypersonic missile attacks against enemy ships, 600 kilometers away. According to the Russian note, the frigate Admiral Gorshkov and the nuclear submarine Kazan, accompanied by a replenishment ship and a tugboat, are carrying out maneuvers simulating a confrontation with enemy ships involving the launch of Zircon hypersonic missiles. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, the 4 vessels will visit Cuba between June 12th and 17th, with the aim of strengthening ties between these historic allies. The Cuban Ministry of Defense emphasized that none of the Russian vessels carry nuclear weapons, and therefore do not pose any risk to regional security. This additional information provided by Cuba is important considering that, a few days ago, Vladimir Putin, during a press conference held at a security conference in Russia, said that, in response to the fact that the United States and other Western countries were sending weapons to Ukraine to attack military targets inside Russia, Russia, in turn, could send weapons to the enemies of these countries to attack military targets inside those countries. A statement that, as you can well imagine, was very poorly received in Europe and the United States. The Pentagon emphasized that the United States is supplying weapons solely for the purpose of defending Ukraine against unprovoked aggression by Russia, a defense that, in light of international law, allows the Ukrainians to attack legitimate military targets inside Russian territory. Therefore, since Cuba is a natural adversary of the United States, strategically located just 220 kilometers away in the Caribbean, Putin's statement that Russia may send weapons to America's adversaries followed a few days later by the dispatch of a Russian naval fleet that includes a large weapons carrier, is seen by many as a possible confirmation of Putin's threats to arm America's adversaries. By sending weapons to Cuba, such as hypersonic missiles, Putin could try to put the United States in a similar situation to the one Russia is in now. However, it is important to note that Russia is deploying virtually all of its advanced weapons arsenal against Ukraine, leaving very few that can be used as weapons of pressure and deterrence in the hands of America's enemies. Furthermore, if it is proven that Russia is sending weapons to the adversaries of Ukraine's allies, this could be used as the pretext that these countries are looking for to further strengthen their support for Ukraine. In any case, what is effectively and officially confirmed is that the purpose of this Russian fleet is purely diplomatic, since no joint naval exercises with the weak and aging Cuban Navy are planned. The 2 warships sent by Moscow to Cuba are among the most advanced in the Russian Navy. The frigate Admiral Gorshkov was commissioned in 2018 and is very modern and very well armed. It is 135 meters long and has a displacement of almost 5,500 tons, armed with anti-aircraft cruise and anti-ship missiles, including the 3M-22 Zircon hypersonic missile, which, according to Russia, has a range of 1,000 kilometers and a speed of up to 9 times that of sound. Before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the Kremlin claimed that the Zircon was an uninterceptable missile due to its extreme speed. However, it was proven that the United States Patriot defense system, deployed in Ukraine, managed to intercept several of these missiles, debunking the claims of Russia's invincible weapon. But in any case, the Zircon is a very lethal missile that can only be intercepted by special air defense systems like the Patriot. Defenses that, as we know, are operated by very few countries and only for the defense of really important installations and locations. The Kazan submarine, which is also heading to Cuba, was commissioned in May 2021. It is 130 meters long, has a crew of 64 sailors, a nuclear reactor and is armed with cruise and anti-ship missiles, with some sources reporting that the submarine was recently upgraded to also launch the Zircon. As I mentioned, since this visit to Cuba will not involve maneuvers with the Cuban Navy, the objective will be purely diplomatic, but it will also serve as a show of force, with Russia showing the United States that, despite the tremendous effort made in Ukraine, it still has the strength to flex its muscles in the Caribbean, right in the middle of Washington's strategic backyard. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any news.